What's going on? It's your boy Sermon at Sermon's Domain on Twitter. Young Dolph is a fighter. He got shot in Hollywood a couple weeks ago and pretty much quickly recovered and really turned that into his next album, Thinking Out Loud. From shooting a video in the hospital while still in bandages to announcing the details just a couple days after the incident. Dolph is the biggest definition of a hustler. You cannot keep this man down under no circumstances. The question now is, does this situation turn into something big for him, or will Thinking Out Loud just be another album to satisfy his fans? The answer to that lies somewhere in between. I feel like some people are going to check it out because they want to hear what he has to say following the incident. And to be honest with you, there's nothing on here that talks about it. As big a hustler Dolph is, you can tell that all this music was recorded prior to the shooting incident. However, I will say that Thinking Out Loud is one of the best Dolph albums since Rich Crack Baby. Like, honestly, probably by the end of this review, I hope you'll see my point, but I think this might be in the top 3. Like, I don't know, I need more time if I were going to sit here and rank them, 1, 2, and 3, but I think that Thinking Out Loud is definitely a contender for one of those 3 spots. Now let me talk about my favorite song, starting off with Believe Me. Now this one right here is classic Dolph. I feel like you get every component that Dolph specializes in on this record. From the motivational and braggadocious raps to his signature ad-libs, great production, and to top it all off, he gives you like a little bit of comedy. I think that's something that I've always liked about Dolph. It's crazy to me that he can have a formula and he follows this formula really closely. Like, every album kind of follows like that same formula, but I'm still not tired of it yet. I feel like sometimes I'll be like, okay, I'm not really feeling this project too much, but then the next project, it's like, oh man, this guy went in, he's going off, and that is what I get out of Believe Me. He says, a crack baby worth 10 mil, still turning down record deals. Gotta admire Dolph and his hustler mentality. My other favorite record is called While You Here. There is something about Dolph that comes out on records like While You Here. He never really talks about his family and friends in a deep fashion. You know what you get when you listen to Dolph, but I think every now and then he'll surprise you and put on a record that you're like, damn, I really wasn't expecting this. So on While You Here, he gets real introspective. It's kind of similar to Cold World. If you are familiar with that record from High Class Street Music Volume 5, that was a record that really was like, damn, I wasn't expecting Dolph to get all deep like this, but he does on this song. And it's kind of weird in the same regard because it's like a sharp contrast from some of the other songs on the album. For example, on another song, he fires off some shots at Yo Gotti. Now, honestly, I know the song was recorded before the incident, and if you read what's going on with that situation, reportedly Yo Gotti was involved. One of his people did it and all that. But no, I'm not here to get into all that. I'm here to say that it's weird to me that Dolph is still like taking shots. Like, he didn't need to put that song on this album. It's weird because then you hear a record like While You Here and you're thinking he really values life, he really values his friends and family, his son, and it's like, why are you still throwing shots for this petty situation over a woman too? That's what the feud between Gotti and Dolph really boils down to. And to me, it's not worth losing any of them over. But I'm getting way too deep and too introspective on this. While You Here is a great closure to Thinking Out Loud, and yeah, it had to be on my favorites list. My 3 honorable mentions, first off is What's the Deal? Second is Go Get. Samo featuring Ty Dolla $ign, Gucci Mane, and 2 Chainz. 2 Chainz is entertaining as always. He says, "I got so high, I tried to eat people." Like, what? And my last honorable mention is titled Eddie Kane. And as soon as that beat hit, I knew I had to include this. That beat is one of the coldest on the album. On an album as good as Thinking Out Loud, there was just one song that I really wasn't a big fan of. Drippy is a record that just sounds very dated. Are you Drippy? Are you dripping swag? Are you also living in 2011? Like, I don't get this record at all. I don't like it in the least bit. I feel like it's one of those records that Dolph makes where it's like a throwaway and you just never know about it again. Like, for me, I tend to make playlists and take out some of the songs that I don't like and just keep the ones that I do. And so these are like those type of records that just get forgotten in my iPod or my, iTunes. With tragedy comes triumph. Young Dolph's Thinking Out Loud is one of the best albums that he's put out to date. I feel like it's a perfect blend of his amazing personality, charismatic personality I should say, amazing and charismatic, as well as great production from his usual beat makers like Zaytoven and Cassius J. And it's just one of those albums that I really enjoyed a lot more than I expected to. Earlier this year, Dolph put out a project, following the 100 Shots and all that. And that one was largely forgettable for me. So it's good to see that Dolph still has it. Really, you can't ask for much more out of him. He knows his lane and he continues to supply the fans with exactly what they want out of Young Dolph. So those are my thoughts on Young Dolph's latest album, Thinking Out Loud. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section below, and then like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share the video. Follow me on Twitter at SermonsDomain, and as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate you for watching, and until next time, peace.